What's up guys? In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace a basement window so that you can take old, nasty, or even broken windows and turn them into this. In this video, I'm going to show you how to remove the existing window, how to clean up the rough and opening, how to install the new window, how to insulate around it, and finally how to make the final touches on the exterior so that you can get a result that looks like this. Let's get into it. So when I bought this fixer-upper property, the existing windows were in pretty bad shape. They're the steel type that's cast into the actual concrete foundation, and the first step in actually getting these out was to remove the glass insert, and I just got this out of the way so I wasn't dealing with glass. You might have to use a little bit of elbow grease to actually remove these, but with a little bit of wiggling back and forth, it wasn't too bad. Also, before we go any further, I want to say this is just how I replaced a window. I'm not saying that this is 100% the correct or right way to do it. Just a disclaimer. So after getting the glass panels out, here's a look at the perimeter of the window. As you can see, it's made of metal and it's basically cast into the sides and bottom of the concrete foundation, which is great when it's installed, but it's a little bit of a pain to actually remove it in the future. So after fumbling my way through the first two windows, I finally found out the secret, at least in my opinion, which is to cut the top center of the window. And once you cut that with a sawzall equipped with a metal blade, you'll be able to pry the sides out of place. At least I was. Use a pry bar to get both of the sides relatively loose, and once those are loose, you can start working on the bottom. You're basically gonna just pull and pry, use a pry bar as needed and get that loose, but I found that after you wiggle it back and forth enough, it'll kind of free itself from the concrete that it was cast in, and you'll be able to lift the entire window assembly out of place. After removing the existing window, use a vacuum to get rid of any dirt, dust, or debris that was left in place. Here's a look at the window. Not super pretty, but we'll clean that up in a minute. Now, finding suitable replacement windows for the old basement windows can be a bit of a challenge, but you just need to find something that's going to be slightly smaller than the existing rough opening in terms of length and height. So the replacement basement windows I found have these mounting flanges on the perimeter, but since those are for new construction, we're going to use a utility knife and snippers to cut those off. It really wasn't hard, just score along the window, cut the sides, and then you'll be able to bend them over and snap them off pretty easily. Simple as that. After removing those mounting flanges, I took the window and I preliminarily positioned it in place within the rough opening just to get an idea of how it was looking. Next, you want to use some shims to space around the top, sides, and bottom of the window so that there's an even gap on all of the sides. After putting in the first couple shims, use a level to make sure the window is perfectly plumb, and then check to make sure it's perfectly level. Make any adjustments, add additional shims, remove shims as necessary, and try to get the even spacing around the entire perimeter, and also make sure that your window is level and plumb. Once you're happy with how the window is sitting in place, you're going to take some window and door spray foam insulation, and you're going to spray it in the gap between the window and the concrete foundation. You want to spray enough insulation so that you don't have a draft going around the window, but try to minimize overspray because you're going to have to go back later on and cut off all the excess. Continue to apply spray foam insulation to all the gaps on the exterior of the window, and then I recommend that you go to the interior side of the window and continue to apply spray foam insulation to ensure that you don't have any air gaps between the window and the window's roughened frame. I was filming as I applied this, so it doesn't look super great and I have a lot of overspray and I had to go back and fill in some areas, but hopefully you get the picture, and if you're doing it without a camera, it'll hopefully go a little bit smoother. So a quick note is that some windows have penetrations where you can screw through the window and into the foundation or into the framing above. Mine didn't, and from the research I did online, I found that spray foam insulation, when you apply enough of it, it's going to hold that window in nice and snugly, especially once we put in the concrete on the outside and caulk it in place. I've had these windows installed for over a year now and haven't had any problems, but if you want that extra security, look at ways to screw through the window into the foundation. After giving the spray foam a couple hours just to fully cure and harden, I took a utility knife and I scored and snapped the shims in place, and then I took a longer utility knife to cut off the excess spray foam by running it along the window to cut off any of the overspray. As you can see here, there was a lot of excess spray foam insulation, which was a result of me being a little heavy-handed on the spray foam insulation trigger, which is a lesson learned for next time. Here's a look at the spray foam that was removed on the inside of the window. Not perfect, but most of the excess was taken care of. And if your basement is unfinished and you were just replacing a broken window, you can honestly stop here on the inside. But on the outside, you're going to want to mix up some rapid setting concrete and make any repairs to the foundation along the bottom. As you can see here, we had a little bit of a bigger gap along the bottom of the window, which I filled in with the concrete there, and then I painted it to match the rest of the foundation. Then for the rest of the gaps on the sides and top, you're going to use a high quality exterior sealant to seal around the window. And after caulking, you should have a window that looks like this. I'm going to give this project a B-. I don't think I hit this one out of the park, but at the end of the day, it's much better than the existing windows that were there in the first place. In the next video, I'm going to show you how I trimmed out the inside of the window as part of my basement finishing process. So subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for that one if you're interested. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.